Get him, Montez. Oh, hi. It's me, Angry NES. Well, I'm still in NES. I don't know what to do. I've been having to go to work like this, people. But I've come to terms with it. So, I think I have a solution that I could use to turn back to human form. Zabalba, get in here!
Yes, master. I need you to plug me into the idiot box. Immediately. I have promised these people an NES review, and by God, I'm going to give it to him. Do as I say, maggot! As you wish, my lords.
Excellent. Now leave my presence at once.
Yes, master. Arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Okay, folks. We're gonna cover the first NES games I ever played in my life. It's gonna be fun. Okay, where was I? Ah, yes. At this point in the mid-'80s, the Atari began to lose its luster to me. So I had to do what any kid had to do with nothing to do inside the house. Go outside and be outside. Yay. Then one fateful day, I went to a friend's house and he had this strange gray box hooked up to his CRTV. I was like, what is that? Like, that's a Nintendo. I said, what is this newfangled nonsense you speak of? And then he popped in Super Mario Brothers. And I was like, oh my God, what is that thing? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, this is the greatest thing I have ever seen. And he was like, yeah, I know, right? So, needless to say, from that day on, I was hooked. So, needless to say, after a while, playing on the Play Choice 10 at my local Walmart and the NES kiosk set up in the electronics department, it was time to get my own Nintendo Entertainment System. So, I did what any red-blooded American child in the 80s would do. I bribed my grandmother for one. And now, finally, I owned my own NES. Naturally, I had to start off with the original hit, Super Mario Brothers. Boy, oh boy, I never thought collecting mushrooms and growing twice your size would be so much fun. Stomping on enemies, kicking turtle shells, shooting fireballs, trying to run under those crazy Hammer Brother things, fighting big old dragon turtle guys, and wow, man, it just blew my mind. It was just a surreal experience. It's hard to describe it. It's hard to recollect what I was feeling at that moment. Just never seen anything like this in my life. It was pretty revolutionary step up from the Atari 2600, which everyone was accustomed to. Oh yeah, I played that game for about 3 months, and my dad said, hey, if you beat it, I'll let you buy another one. Alright, went through it, beat it no problem, ready to go. He's like, well, I checked it out and those games are kind of high, so we can take you to the rental store and you can rent some. I was like, that'll work. Why not? Because I'm bored of Mario now. You know, Mario, and, you know, I'd also played a little bit of Duck Hunt. I like that, the clay shooting, the shooting animals and not being able to shoot annoying animals. And, yeah, Duck Hunt. That was where it was at. So, the first game I rented from our local store was a game called Dash Galaxy in the Alien Asylum. The cover art looked cool. All the other good games were already checked out, so I had no choice but to rent that one. What a letdown. That's one wasted weekend. That's all I'm going to say about that one. If you played this game, you understand what I'm talking about. Next in line was, didn't know it at the time, but this game was the shiz. I'm talking about full-blown action, just hauling butt through the stages, just killing everything that moves. Man, the first thing I thought of was like, ninjas are cool. This game's got to be awesome. And I was right. And oh boy, I played this game so hardcore for a long time. It took me about 2-3 years to finally beat it with multiple rentals. But once I did, man, just the satisfaction level was just off the charts. You're like, oh my God, I beat Ninja Gaiden. One of the greats. One of the very, very best video games ever created. Enough said. Next up, we have Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. I played this one before the other sequels and the original. The same with Ninja Gaiden and the Mega Man games. But let me explain. For some reason, Castlevania 1 was always rented out. So I was like, well, I'm going to pick part 2 because I like the name. Castlevania. Reminds me of vampires and creepy stuff. And sure enough, that's exactly what it was. Though a little on the cryptic side, it took me forever to figure out Castlevania 2. But when I did, thanks to Nintendo Games Tricks, Codes, and Secrets, I think that's what it was called. A little VHS tape I rented out. Showed me a few things about it and gave me extra codes to the end. And I finally got through it. And I was happy. And then I eventually got a hold of part 3 when it came out. Still haven't played part 1. Played 3, loved 3. 3 was it's like probably my all-time favorite Castlevania. It was awesome. You could pick different characters, go different paths, have different endings, different challenges. It was great. Then I asked for part 3 for Christmas one year, and my parents, being on kind of the broke side, got me part 1, which was a bestseller at that point, so it was really cheap. They bought me that for Christmas instead. So I was a little disappointed, but hey, I was happy I finally had part 1, and let me tell you, I love part 1 just as much as the rest of them. Maybe not as much as 3, but Castlevania is always like number 1 or 2 on my list of favorite franchises ever in video games. Next up was a game called Gradius, or Gradius. I always called it Gradius. It just sounds better to me. Anyway, Gradius was a spaceship shooter from Konami, one of my favorite companies ever until they lost their minds a few years ago. But that's beside the point. Gradius and all of its spin-offs and sequels, Life Force and Parodius, and Gradius started a whole new trend of spaceship shooters. Like, we went from Space Invaders and Defender to like Gradius and R-Type, and next thing we knew, they were flooding the market, and we had the Raiden series and Thunder Spirits and just Axelay, a whole host of awesome space shooters. But yeah, Gradius was where it was at, especially if you knew the Konami code. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but you probably already know. Yeah, Gradius, man. I like to shoot alien ships and things. Yeah. Now we're getting into the more hardcore, crazy, difficult Mega Man series. And just like I said earlier, like the Castlevania series and the Ninja Gaiden series. By the way, Ninja Gaiden, I played part 1 first, then 2, then 3. I forgot about that. But anyway, it's one of the franchises I played out of order. I started out with part Mega Man 3, and I fell in love with just the balance of just everything you could possibly want in a video game. The game itself was pretty challenging. It wasn't too unfair. It had a lot of bottomless pits and a lot of spikes, but if you died, it made you feel like it was your fault. So I had no problem with Mega Man from then on out, except when you come to the first one, which I'll get to in a minute. All right, after 3, I played the first Mega Man, and holy crap, this game is freaking hard and very, very, very unfair. You can tell they hadn't polished their design perfection yet. With no save feature, it was, whew. That was one of those lost weekends right there. Like, you're just zombified trying to beat Mega Man 1, and you get to the Yellow Devil at the end, and you can't beat him, and then you end up going back outside, and the sun hurts your eyes, and you're like, yeah, it was terrible. But I like Mega Man. And then I played part 2, the magnum opus of them all, from everybody's perspective. Personally, I like part 3 the best. One reason is because I played it before everything else. The second reason is it's just more to part 3, because you fight all the Mega Man 2 bosses on there, as well as the Mega Man 3 bosses. You have a gigantic Wily Castle at the end. Lots of challenges, lots of retro enemies. You have the Yellow Devil coming back, which is not as challenging as off of part 1, but part 3 has always been my favorite. I don't know what it is with me in part 3s. Like, you got Castlevania 3, you got Mega Man 3, you got Mario 3, Dead Space 3. I don't care what you say about that. I love that game. It was awesome because it was in the snow and there was more stuff against you. The elements and evil zombie things. Yeah. Mega Man, I like it. And the final game on our smorgasbord of NES classics is the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, in the 80s, particularly in that time period, I was a rabid Ninja Turtles fan. I had a lot of the toys, a lot of the, how do I put this, bedspreads and curtains and pillowcases and lunch boxes and and things and junk, pet turtles. I had it all, turtles, boy. And first game came out, and whew, this is one of the games that defined NES hard in my day. This game was incredibly difficult, incredibly cheap, incredibly unforgiving, but I still love it because it was different. It played good, had good controls, and awesome music. It's just a good time for all, man. And on that note, I believe I am through with this review, and I feel the transformation coming. I think I did it, folks. I'm gonna turn back Herman. Hermans! Ermagerd Herman!
Oh man. Yay!